am crying because I love you. There is a bond amidst the pain. Your heart is suffering, yet bright like fire it burns and blinds. Love cuts flesh with a skillful blade. If we could not embrace, we could not be remade. Days of grime and effort tire us, hurt us, tear us. Sure, this is the bed of danger, the killer of life and hope. Love cuts flesh with a skillful blade. If we could not embrace, we could not be remade. Were this the time to show you if we held terror sharp, you'd see my love come roaring on, my sacrifice would enfold you. Love cuts flesh with a skillful blade. If we could not embrace, we could not be remade. Ah, mother, sing the song of your children. Only tragedy touches the threads of feeling. Love cuts flesh with a skillful blade. If we could not embrace, we could not be remade. We are shuttered then, my love, but throbbing and pulsing, always and battering hard, losing and winning cycles of hope. Love cuts flesh with a skillful blade. If we could not embrace, we could not be remade. Hit and run.
Run.
My bread's buttered on the short side. I'd like to crease my lips and set them to a cadence of redemption. Christ knows I'm following a strange route, and also that I'm caverning his little tomb. Well, let's sit down after the drinking and take our feelers in. Somewhere along any line, we pick up small pieces of what we pass. If you don't understand it, eat the book. Something will get to you in the end. I can't articulate the legacy of the dream, so why would I try? Outside the roar of cars and vans, outside the silence before the rain strums a sequence of inquiries on the roof. Little streams of it come through sometimes, streams to let us know it's there. We'd rather slide off and pretend there is no hexagram. You're all too easy in your temperance. Tomorrow you should smile and push as well. 3rd of April 1983. Contact, honking infants, grunting lovers, trading on one for the other, taking the pleasures as they come, crunching through the routines and setting the clocks by sensuality time. Pah! Dry mouthfuls of jism from flexible cunts, cracking back braces for late orgasms, love turns for the diligent, tongue-tied for the morose. Sometimes there are no praises. Sometimes complaint takes the stairway and dances up to the shining starburst. It's Hollywood, it's the sign on the hill, the emblem of the golden dream, and the false truth of it too. This isn't Hollywood, it's Hollywood land. But how many letters can spoil a view, and how many letters can raise such a trophy in the first place? I opened the Bible on Easter Sunday, and I hear that the cock crowed thrice and he was denied each time. Juju inversions. The juju is wrong, for it's not of Christ. The juju is right, for Christ corroborates. Why did you die for my sins, Son of God? I'll be honest, I don't understand the crucifixion. It's a mystery. They call it that, yet I don't even grasp the mystery. We're all hanging around after all. 4th of April 1983. Decades end. The flux of tolerance is thin. Were there justification for the death of innocents, the ending would be simple. Maybe it's not a decade I'm talking about. It may be stumps of organisation. It may be the fallen boughs from the tree of life. From Keither hangs a tale. From volume to volume, it's a slow walk in unfamiliar facsimiles of what I always knew. Racing the cat. Your past is the cat, and the doorway is tomorrow. Get out the door before the cat can reach it, because the rats are about and the rats are the race. Red flags and cigarettes. Everyone relaxes in their own way. Tonight we apologize for the death of a man. An error was made. This man, not this man, should have died. Heavy 38 slugs busting brain and skull on the passage out. A spectacular view from the back. It isn't neat and it isn't pleasant, but we know what we're up against and mistakes will be made. What matters these men? Some are armed and some are not. They all deserve to die. All of us marked as the fallen foe, a tragedy of wartime, an abreaction in an undisciplined progression, heavily coloured by the clarity of our vision and the weight of our experience. It's all we can do to see ourselves in blackened mirrors. 3rd of April 1983. Down and down and down, push me up the hill, down and down and down, all around the wall, all around the wall, clicking chickens, cluck, cluck, walls. Push me round the corner, push me far and straight, bust me on the corner, turn me on the wall, take the turn I have to, fade me out to dark, 2 sides to the platter, a pageant of the dross. Oh touch, oh put your hand on me. I hope there's something you can do for me. I've lost my memory. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I live. I don't know where I've been. I don't remember anything. City hospital, amnesia. Take me to central recidivism. 5th of April 1983. Dowsing with the black dick. Vibrations to turn me this way or that. A claw of power. We'd get somehow side A on the civilized front. The perfect man is a dullard, and not only knows his place but maintains it diligently. Put him in the wrong context and he seizes up. He'll turn away or sweat till he's elsewhere. Some spleen he has. None to welcome strangers, much for imaginary absolutes. Ask him to describe his fears and he'll stereotype them, call them phobia and reason it out. He reacts as to a shock cut in the movie. His whole reflex operating transient and thin. He has the short-sightedness of many, a reticence to tangle over the hill, to tangle with over the hill, in case he really can grasp it, really can conceive an abstract. There's the real terror. staring at the sky has to be two-dimensional, or he's sweating, disbelieving. The layers up above him. Close his eyes, and he denies the same. Turn him around and shake him up. He can be controlled. Governments know this. Churches too, and social systems are based on this. Personal freedom is the enemy of reason. Wild neural activity approximates the antisocial. The men that eat with spoons and live apart are revolutionaries, stricter than ideologues. Anarchism is a hooffuck, an introversion, a desperate stand against conditioning. It is in no way political until it is consumed by its enemy. The dark angel is never seen. 6th of April, 1983. Parasites on the path of aspiration. Everyone eats forbidden fruit in this day and age. Sweet and bitter, it's canon property. It's not that I'm saying anyone has a special right to these juicy vessels, or that some should be denied them. All I say is that the food can be just too rich for stomachs reared and habituated on more ordinary fodder. You bite, suck, savor, settle, shift, slip a little sideways, vomit, and lose a little ground to the memory thief. Come the next time you're eager to play again, but it's been gruel and bread and water and wine, and you're no more ready than a kid with his first cigarette. You stagger from its effect, and you find out soon that there's no place for intoxication in your average diet. It has to come up, and it does, retching and malformed. Every time the come down's a mess, you have to clear up, and you can't quite get the goo and the groove from the nooks and crannies. Little festering pools. Comes the first time you can't spot a direction. Comes the time you limbo into the crisis of which way, and comes the realization that unless you eat nothing but forbidden fruit, you'll die. You're a junkie on the lam, looking for supply. You're withdrawing, you haven't a hope in hell, an amateur caught in the midst of the big boys. Screaming won't help you now, but neither will the nausea that hovers over every move you make, the empty feeling you draw from your entire experience. You got this far and you're beyond your stamina. You can't get more, so you're back to gruel and bread and water and wine. All your choices have been stolen. 7th of April, 1983. Guilt. As profound a state as rapture or grace, hobby horses, cookies and television. Any way to divert the shame is a trickster's dream. On waking, the guilt remains as an active force. Guilt prods art. Give it to me now and let it support me in my comfort. A commodity to fill the void. A hat to wear on a windy day. A car to drive around the problem. The door looks on. An empty shell for me to listen to the voices that victify and scourge. Layers on the surface, layers to the bottom. Taken slowly, guilt fills the void and fills the need. It occupies and leavens from one groaning child to another, just between ourselves. The one true thing is the negative, for the positive is expended by history, and is the last inscrutable edifice. Cold hands wander aimlessly over sheets of paper, taking a bundle from one place to another. Light sharpens the words that rely on past digression for their being. Phony moods of many shadings tremble onto indented notebooks. The whole damn vision is as mired in diffused decomposition as the contents of a neglected mousetrap, a testing of the will, bottles in the brain. 8th of January, 1983. What was it? Major interference, lieutenant lies, and private obsessions. The harmed forces of hope. But those are only lucky words, little pieces of the whole. Next we have the grand platitude. A life unexamined is a wasted life. I'll drink to that. Who examines, though? What form does examination take? We think we're so right and different, and they so wrong and uniform. It's a fallacy, a balloon of perfection for the tree man clustered on the limb. Who remarks on an 86-year-old who tends his sleep? What stories are told of him, and what monumental impact he's had on the earth, on his dumb, stupid space? No thoughts were his, no advancements, only repetition and hardship, his lot, all he knew or wanted. While others worked so hard on perfect truth, names without regard for precedent turned tricks more basic, more exciting. To overcome the restraints of circumstances, the spur of art, to filter through the conditions of a life, to bend it to the channels of necessity, and then to be regarded passionlessly, is the way and the function. Take no prisoners and carry a death capsule. Reject the bum boys and the joy boys of the clique. It's all machinery. Turn it inward and burn it out, for better or for worse. Release it. 9th of April, 1983. Are you listening? Does your callous, hard, fair head basket feel my attention? Maybe you're too involved in Mexican hat rest to really fix on my words. Could be that some frivolity chick clicks across the TV screen and distracts. There is simply no way that I might wring one definite rapport from a sentence. It's an illusion at the very best of times. A long time ago we spoke of truth and lies, and it got no further than here in the White House. You may think this is as far as a man can go, but it's not. It's a mire in Dartmoor. It's a cheap Eastman colour dream in a theatre full of sighs. The colours are phony, but the settings are real. Verity walks to the end of the path before the house. A little stream of white lime-laced water trickles by its end, touching the verge, staining the torn macadam road. Verity can see the limeworks gate to her left across the junction, and beyond them a smudge of smoke appears above a cluster of goose and bramble. Opposite her position before the house is the road, then a field. In the field, tethered to 3 posts, are 3 goats. They are in the sunshine, in the rain, in the snow. Verity wakes to their bleating most mornings and associates it with the sunrise. Throwing her cigarette butt to one side, she crosses the road to the limeworks. She is burdened by the portable VCR slung on her left shoulder and the video camera perched like a giant mechanical parrot on her right. She will never see the tape she is making. The cassette in the recorder is 3 hours long. The exposure is set for automatic. She enters the gateway and chooses the left-hand path, knowing it to be in disuse of late, unlikely to be the haunt of whitened lorries or workmen in faded boiler suits and woolen hats. Both eyes open, one intuitively checking the scan of the video camera, the other guiding her steps along the track. She walks slowly but purposefully to the back of a 20-foot mound of rubble. From there she can take in almost the entire quarry, panning the camera. That done, the scene set, she follows the path around the height of man-made cliff. As she walks, she talks, her voice caught by the condenser microphone in the handle of the camera. Her words are aimless and obscure, talking for the sake of the moment, a blurred description of mood and intention. Other sounds, the distant machinery, bird song, the shuffling of cloth against cloth, the shifting of her hand grip and her footsteps intermingle with her lament. At the highest point of the quarry, she awkwardly sets the VCR on the ground beside a dead tree, and while it still runs, places the camera as comfortably as possible in a fork some 6 feet off the ground. Zoom lens at wide angle, the recorded image, which she cannot see, is slightly tilted, despite her best efforts to render it straight. It points towards the quarry. For a further 5 or so minutes, she speaks directly to camera, standing before the gaping yellow-white hole of the excavation, then waves, laughs, a little chuckle at the silliness of her movement, turns and disappears over the edge. Batteries run down, causing the picture first to tumble, then to stretch horizontally in a blitz of interference. After about 30 minutes playtime, the VCR automatically shuts off, the power insufficient to keep it running. 10th of April, 1983. By the time Verity reached the bottom, it was dusk, buzzing air of thick grey. She was dusty, and her hair was grey, her blouse torn. Limbs had been stretched beyond their usual tolerances, fingernails ringed by grime. Her endeavour had been tinged by the chance of fatality, but mostly it was a test of willpower. By an act of severing will, she had created about a 70% certainty of success, and she made it. Now she had to figure out what to do next, to plan, having gone no further than the two possibilities of quick or slow, thinking or not. The limestone glowed mysteriously. She set her behind on a boulder and surveyed the possibilities. Busted and crooked, twisted and wrecked, not much dignity in death, not much to be said. First off, the blue gabardine butt double-breasted, then the blouse and bra, jeans, panties, socks and shoes, boots rather, the hook-eye walking boots for the lonely nights of star cocoon, breasts and blood, belly and bone, hips out of joint and a ruptured pussy, remembrances of manhood. Verity on a slab, peeled, segmented, giving very little away, no change as always, slightly settled in her mind all right, and advance on current ways, opened out like a purse, the air circulated and cleansed. Through slats on the bench all fluids drained, many extraneous encumbrances slipping away. Clarity through surgery. 13th of April, 1983. Something is going to break. Probably some element within me, and probably something on the side of the good, while the bad perpetuates and grows. It is the end, I know, long and excruciating though it is the end. The rocking horse is only supposed to swing forwards. Here I am in sideways shunt, prolific yet arrested in the single spot, stuck and stuck. Change has to come, manufacturing must commence. Cooking up time is the name, individuality the game. Next in line the butcher's wink, the pint of beer and the bookie dockets. How I'm supposed to move there I don't know. Socially unacceptable breakup, the fabrication of needs, the diversion of the power. Making strange noises in her throat, Verity progressed like a bent nail to the toilet. There she hacked out a symphony, talking to Ed on the big white phone, as her friend would say, soiling the porcelain with splatters of bile, supping the water by the plastic toothbrush cup. Shadowing her physical misery was the hopeless feeling of being a piece of flotsam in a giant toilet bowl. Ingrained in her mental patterns was the mantra, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. She was in her own tragic screenplay, ready to reach for the razor blades and the Gillette pack on the cabinet, ready to run through the script she'd visualized like Leonard Cohen on a dark bath night not long before. She knew what she was doing, though they said later she didn't know what she was doing. The nausea turned red, and she slept where she knelt.
I've got about an inch to go. One night was an inch longer.